Hi everyone, so for this color highlight, we'll be looking at the color Cobalt Violet. So Cobalt Violet is made with one of these three pigments, PV14, which is the one shown here, PV49 or PV47, and its appearance is usually a deep purple color or like a purpley pink color, which is the one that we're seeing here. And two important characteristics of Cobalt Violet are that it's first a granulating pigment, and then also it is a color that's very hard to re-wet. And being hard to re-wet is something that causes some painters to feel uncomfortable using this pigment. So while being hard to re-wet is a common concern for this pigment, my big concerns are unrelated to that. My first one is that it is a cobalt color, and in my Cobalt Teal video, I discussed some of the unethical things that are done for sourcing cobalt pigments sometimes, and then also a cobalt color is a heavy metal, so if you do use this color, please make sure you use it responsibly, and then also dispose of your paint water properly. And then my other concern is regarded to its permanency. So even though it's traditionally considered light fast, even on handprint.com, there is a different source that I'll link below stating that this color technically can fade from other factors like heat and humidity. So if you live in a hot and humid area, make sure you either test this color for permanency, or also if you do use it and not do that, just use it for things like sketchbooks and digital prints. Despite my concerns with this pigment, this is a lovely color still, and I would say this is probably the closest thing that we have to the additive magenta that you see on a computer. Just like the other colors in the series so far, I'm going to do a quick little dispersion on Cobalt Violet. In this case, the color doesn't disperse far, but that's expected for something like Cobalt Violet. So what I'll be doing next with the Cobalt Violet color is mixing it with 6 colors that I have on my palette, starting with Yellow Ochre or PY43. And Yellow Ochre tends to be the common choice for a neutralized yellow. So when I mix these two colors together, we get this delicate peach color. And then as I add more Cobalt Violet, we start to get more delicate pink colors. And with these peach and pink tones, Cobalt Violet could be an interesting choice as a mixing magenta, given that it can mix red and orange hues. The next color I'll be mixing with is Perylene Maroon or PR179. And when we mix these colors together, we get these delicate granulating crimson colors. So if you want like a crimson color, but you don't want to use alizarin crimson or an alizarin crimson substitute, Cobalt Violet and Perylene Maroon can give you an interesting mix. The third color I'll be mixing with is Cobalt Teal, which is made with PB28. And this was the one I used in my color highlight video. And when we mix Cobalt Violet and Cobalt Teal together, we get these delicate periwinkle, blue, lavender, and violet colors. So as it can mix these nice reds, oranges, and blues and violets, it shows that Cobalt Violet can be used as a mixing magenta. So now what I'll do is I'll mix with some of the colors that I skipped earlier, starting with transparent Pyrrole Orange or PO71. So what we can see here is that we're able to get decently bright oranges and reds in this case. And this is similar to the yellow ochre, but because transparent Pyrrole Orange is more intense, we're able to get more intense hues in this case. So the next color I'll be mixing with is Potter's Pink, which is made with PR233. And for me, this is one of my favorite pigments that you can get in terms of its color. And when you mix these two colors together, you get these nice, delicate, granulating rose colors. So the final color I'll be mixing with is Phthalo Green Blue shade, which is PG7. So when I mix these two colors together, you get pretty nice blues, purples, and violets. And these are deeper than the Cobalt Teal, as Phthalo Green is a pretty deep color. But as Phthalo Green also is pretty close to cyan, we get some pretty decently bright mixes with it. So here are the final mixes of Cobalt Violet. Overall, I think these mixes are very pretty and they give some really nice granulation, and this can be an interesting choice for a mixing magenta. As Cobalt Violet is an uncommon color, and many painters like to use a rosy color with ultramarine to mix their purples, I'm going to show you a mixture of quinacridone pink and ultramarine that tries to get a hue that's similar to Cobalt Violet. So when I compare these two purples together, I'd say that the mixture is a little bit darker and duller than the Cobalt Violet, but I do think it is a bright enough purple, and it kind of reminds me of my ultramarine pink that I have from M. Graham. So overall, I find Cobalt Violet to be a lovely color, and I think it mixes really well, but I still have concerns regarding it being a cobalt color and also its potential permanency issues. So I'm unsure if I would replace it when I run out, or if I would just mix a rose color with ultramarine to get these magenta hues. And then I hope you found this video helpful, and I'm curious to hear what your opinions are on Cobalt Violet.